Borrowing money for short time periods is common even for large, successful companies. From time to time, businesses do not generate enough cash internally to fund purchases of inventory or equipment, or to pay for day-to-day operating expenses. A promissory note, or note payable, is a written IOU from the borrower showing how much cash is borrowed, who it is borrowed from, and when it must be paid back. A provision for interest may also be included on the face of the note. A note payable may be issued to secure a revolving line of credit from a bank or other lending source. A line of credit allows a company to borrow funds up to a certain limit as needed within a specified time period. However, the bank may require the company to meet financial goals such as specified profit margins, current ratios, or debt-to-equity ratios. Also, the interest rate charged by the bank may vary on a daily basis. A line of credit gives a company great flexibility to borrow cash only when it's needed. For example, a retailer may want to purchase large amounts of inventory in anticipation of holiday sales, or a company may draw on its line of credit to help finance the acquisition of another company. Whatever the need, whatever the source, borrowing cash short-term secured by a note payable is a basic means of cash management for almost all businesses, large or small. Over a 16-year period, as OnTarget has grown and flourished, it has reduced its dependence on bank loans to sustain itself. But it does continue to use credit for select purposes.
Back in 1982, when OnTarget was first organized, debt was the easiest source of capital that we could get. It was easy working with bankers. Bankers at the time were really looking for companies to finance, and we had assets that we need to purchase that could serve as collaterals for the bankers. So it made it real simple for bank transactions to take place for us. We still have a line of credit at the bank, and the way we use that line of credit is we finance receivables. What we do, if there's a transaction that is big enough that we need to supplement our operating cash in order to supplement that transaction, we'll do it. And as that receivables come paid, well, then we take those proceeds and pay down that line of credit, always keeping that line within a 12-month manageable state.
Typically, a bank requires the borrower to sign a promissory note. There are two types of banknotes. One type of note states only the amount borrowed, face value equals principal. The other type of note includes the interest in the face value. Each note requires slightly different accounting procedures. Recording notes payable where the face value equals principal is fairly simple. The amount borrowed is the same as the cash received. So for an $80,000 note, cash and the note are recorded at face value. Let's assume $3,000 of interest accrues on the note at the end of the accounting period. An accrual adjusting entry is recorded. During the next accounting period, the note matures and must be paid off along with the interest. Assume total interest on the note is $4,000. The entry removes the principal or face amount of the note, the previously accrued interest, and the remaining $1,000 of interest expense. Cash paid out covers the note plus all the interest. Another type of note includes the interest in its face amount and is a little trickier to record. This time, the $80,000 note includes the $4,000 interest. The proceeds to the borrower is the $80,000 minus the $4,000 interest. At this point, no time has elapsed, so no interest has built up on the money borrowed. And yet there is an $80,000 note that was signed. How do we account for the difference in the cash received and the amount of the note? The answer is to debit the $4,000 difference to discount on notes payable, a contra-liability account. At the borrowing date, the $80,000 note would be shown in the liability section of the balance sheet, less the discount. At the end of the accounting period, time has passed. This means an accrual must be recorded for the interest expense. As with the previous type of note payable, the amount is $3,000. Notice that the debit side of the entry is the same as before, but the credit is to the discount account. This reduces the balance in the discount account to $1,000 and increases the overall liability on the note to $79,000. The note is paid off in the next accounting period. So the note is removed from the books. The remaining $1,000 discount becomes interest expense, and cash is paid out. Notice that the cash paid out equals the face value of the note. Notes payable are also issued at the request of creditors when a customer, who can be a firm or individual, is past due in the payment of an account receivable. The note strengthens the creditor's claim against the customer and provides for interest on the amount owed. Reporting notes payable on the balance sheet requires us to distinguish short-term notes from long-term notes. Short-term notes are repaid in a year or less and are shown as current liabilities on the balance sheet. Notes paid off more than 1 year in the future are shown as long-term liabilities on the balance sheet. However, portions of long-term notes due within a year are presented as current liabilities.